This cool looking island has a very cool feature. It has its own rail track. Hey, how's it going and welcome to MyRail. This is a special episode, so we're going to build an evil lair. Yep, that's right, an evil lair. Because we don't have anywhere to live. Now, we built all these things around here, and I'm just feeling a little bit evil. In fact, what we're going to do is actually create a floating evil lair with its own rail system. So, if that sounds like something you might be interested in, take a look around, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But, let's get started. So, we're out here in the middle of nowhere, and we are actually quite a long way from any of our builds. In fact, there's the control room, 800 meters. Over there is the power plant. That's probably the closest thing here. And the reason why we're out here, we're standing on this island here, but there's not a lot around here, just maybe a few towns, but not a lot else. So it would be a great place to put our floating island, but of course, I'm not going to make the floating island by hand. I have a little friend. Yep, we've got Wooly. And what Wooly is, as we look in here, this is an actual robot. It's made in an assembler, and it's got a tier-3 computer in here, along with a solar generator upgrade so it can keep itself powered. We've got an angel upgrade so it can place blocks anywhere in the world without having to have something next to it. A hover upgrade at tier 2, which lets us go up quite a distance. And an inventory controller upgrade so we can control our inventory and work out where things are. A keyboard, inventory, screen with a GPU, which is the processing unit, some memory, EEPROM, and a hard drive. I've already installed the OpenOS. So if we place this guy down here, he's going to be ready to go. We're going to boot him up. And the first thing I'm going to do is grab some code to make ourselves an island builder. And we'll be back in a second. Right, I think that should do us. Now what I've got here is I have put in a quick storage drawer set up with some stone and dirt, because I think we're going to need a lot to go into here for this. And I'll probably come back and refill these manually. I've also set up a charger here on the off chance that the solar generator doesn't keep up. It should do because we're in the sun all the time, but just in case it doesn't. And a little bit of a cheaty power source underneath it. This has been screnched. If you haven't seen this before, you can actually right click with a scrench. And you can see at the top there, now says charge speed 0% and it's not glowing. Which would normally mean you need to give it a redstone signal. But in this case, if we hit it with a scrunch, it changes it around and now it'll always charge. And I've got a little bit of a cheeky power supply going on underneath here just to keep it nice and powered. Because there's no power around here. We're going to have to run some power at some point. What we're going to do though is we'll go over to here. And the program I've written is called Island, which you'll be able to get from the GitHub page as normal. Run that by itself. It does tell you how this works. So we want to give it a width and a height. So we're going to make this 64 by 64. So a nice big island. The height we're going to make 10. And then also we're going to add offsets in. So the width, I think we're just going to leave it probably at 0. The length, I'm going to make it, I want to push it probably 10 blocks in that direction. Actually, well, I'm going to make it 10 blocks in that direction and probably another 10 blocks in that direction. So let's go 10 by 10. So that first 10 is this way. The second 10 will be that way. And then we need to go height. I'm going to make it probably 50 blocks up. So we're currently at Y84. So 50 up on there, plus another 10 for our height. Should be fine. And I'm going to leave the CL, or the current length, because I've only got one robot. And the last thing we need to do is we need to load up our inventory here. So the very first block is stone in this case, is going to be our bottom block. So the primary block we use is going to be stone. And then we've got our topping block, or the dirt block, which of course is dirt, in the second slot. The rest of this could be anything we want, and when it runs out, it will return back to the spot to grab it out of the drawer controller, or anything that's here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this guy go, and it's going to go off and do its thing, and then we can come back when it's finished. Off it goes. Right, so all 4 of the robots have now finished, which means that the 4 islands are now built. And yes, I did end up using that last argument, because that is what sets where these guys start and finish from. So this guy, of course, was 0, the one I set off initially, and then I thought this is going to take a while, so I set up position 1, so that argument was set to 1, this argument was set to 2, and this argument was set to 3. So then we had 4 of them all running, and they left from these positions, and when they'd finished, they came back. But as you can see, we now have 4 islands, and they are quite high up, which is probably a good thing for an evil lair. And I've placed down a single piece of grass, and it slowly worked its way around. Also added a little bit of character. The holes here are built into the program, and it will place some stone, but I wanted a bit more. And in here, you can see in here it's all hollow, but I thought this would be a really cool place to have an evil lair. We can do all our evil stuff from in here. I was also thinking though, that what we need to do is we need to have transport between the islands. So, you can see here that we've got this empty area. If we head this way, currently we can fly over here because we're in creative, but of course if we weren't in creative, we would have to come along and get into here somewhere. And I need to fix these holes, because I was using this to get in and out, to put torches down to make it a bit more mob friendly. But what I was thinking of doing is something that I don't see a lot of channels doing, is there is a block in a Railcraft called the Force Emitter. This guy here. And what it does is it creates a beam between 2 points. And it looks quite cool, very futuristic for something in the sky. So what I'm going to do is, in order to use it, you have to place it down like that, and the large dot here, you can see they've got small dots here. The large dot is where the track will come out of, so it will run along the top here, and we need to give it power. Now we do need to use Railcraft power, so if we go in here and find the flux transformer, which is a 2x2x2. And I'm just going to place that probably in this gap here. Might actually be a really good spot for it. So we place a 2x2x2 in there, and you can see it joins itself up. From there, we're going to need to use some shunting cable. You would have seen me use these when we worked with the electric track. And this will take the output of this, and it will place it through a cable, which we can then join into this guy here. If we wanted to, we can also place these guys on top and then put track on top of it. So what we're going to do though is we'll head down here and place it there, and like that. So now we can run our track along. We will need to give that guy power, which means bringing it up. For the moment though, I'm just going to grab a creative energy cube from mechanism for the moment, and we will place that in here, which hopefully gives that power. And we will need a lever. Can I put a lever there? So we'll put the lever here for now, and you can see that it creates a track all the way along. Now we can't walk along this, which is fall through, but of course trains can. Now one of the other things you need to note is this will keep going, and I aligned that poorly, but if this will just keep going until it runs into a block or something else. Apparently torches work as well. But you can see it goes all the way around and it updates itself. So what we need to do is we place down some track like this. Place track there, and then that will turn into our area that the things can come along. If we grab a engine, the creative one for the moment, place that along here. Of course it faces the wrong way. I need a row bar to face it the other way, and we'll need a cart. It's a single minecart, go into here, put that there, join the two together, hop in this guy, jump into here, set it to running, and we will now be going along the track. Doesn't it look cool? Of course, from here, you can see the lines are there, but you go far enough away, and it still looks quite cool. But of course, the cool thing about it, we are going to have a problem when we go over here, though, of course, because of the fact there's no track. Not bad, eh? So, the other cool thing about it is if we turn off the power, it comes back in. So what I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to run some track around between the islands so that we can actually test this once we've got it working. Okay, that looks like it works. Doesn't that look cool? Just going along in the distance there. But anyway, we have got all the track now in place with the force emitters in place. You can see this island here, it just loops around, and it's the same on the other side. But of course, what we could be doing now is we could be doing our evil plans, whatever they may be. And then we decide, oh, actually, we need to go to the other island. We can then jump up to here, jump into the train, and take it along and across here. Now, this island here, the one in the middle, semi-middle, is the one that's got the force emitters in it. There's one over there, one over there, one over there, and one over there. And that means we only have to power one flux transformer, which means I only have to get one to power in here, however that might be done. But the biggest problem is, while it looks cool as it currently is, it's not very evil. Now we want to be able to hide this away so the islands just look like they're just plain old islands. We want to be able to turn it off. So normally it's in an off state. But when the train comes along from over here, we need to be able to read that it's here and activate that. The first thing we're going to need to do is be able to read where the train is. So if we grab a cart detector and we say, where'd that go? There. We say maybe put it under here. Actually, we'll put it under here. Nope, can't put it under there. Signal like that. We put it there. Nope. Nope. There. Put that back there. We're going to throw a controller in here. And then we'll need our track there. We'll need a signal tuner. These guys. I'm going to click on this guy and change it to default to be off, and redstone will be green. So when this is outputting a redstone signal, it makes this guy green. We're going to go over here, and if we wanted to, we could just place straight into here a receiver, and we connect it up. Get rid of that. So now, of course, there is nothing there, but if we grab a minecart, and we stick it, actually we need to set this up. Can't even use a minecart actually. But we need to set this guy to train size of 1, because it doesn't matter what the size of the train is, as long as it's a train, we want that to happen. Quite cool. The problem is that while that will work, the moment this goes, the moment that's off there, it'll then disappear. So it'll move to here and oh, the track goes away. Not what we want. So what we'll do is we'll head over here and we'll set up a little bit of a Railcraft redstone logic thing where we're going to put in a receiver. Where's that receiver? Receiver there. No, receiver there. We're going to put the controller on the other side. And then we're going to put in a sequencer. Now what this sequencer does is it works a bit... normally, it takes a received signal. So this guy here will send out a signal. Every time it gets a signal, it'll change the controller that's connected to it. So we can put another controller in. Let's put one in there. And now if this guy changes in signal, it'll then flip from this guy to that guy. The next time, it then flips back. If there was one here, it would then go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In this case, we're just going to use it as a toggle latch, so that when something is on the track, it'll trigger it so that the other guy's active. So what we're going to do is we'll head over to here and click on this guy so that it connects up to our receiver here. We're going to make this guy here is going to be the one that connects into this. And obviously it's active right at the moment. But the one at the back here, we're going to have to say, do not send a train. So normally what I would do in this situation, if we had multiple trains on here, we would have a locking track, say here, and then we'd have a block signal to protect this block from something entering it. The problem is when this guy is not there, it's not a block. So we'll put a receiver there, and we'll make that so that when the other one's active, this guy is not. Which will mean anything that's sitting here waiting will wait for the thing in front. We will need to set that to that. And now if we grab our cart, like that, it'll disappear. Fine, that's kind of what we want. But you can also see that this is now available. We do it again though. Now, it appears. Rather cool. We can send the minecart on its way, and away it goes. Also, we'll have to hit it all the way through here. On this side, we do need something to trigger it on the other side. So let's put in another receiver there. And we can just put any form of detector here. We could probably use just a normal... yeah, either way. So let's put a detector there, and then we'll put a controller in there, and link that to this guy. And now, when this guy goes past, it'll flip, and you can see that this now closes, which is great. It's fixed all our problems, right? Not quite. We do have one more small problem. Because if a train is going too fast, when it gets to here, it's just going to go right past, and oh, no track there. So what we need to do is we also need to, there's two options we can go with. The first option we can use is one of these delayed locking tracks, and what they will do is we can put it there. We would need to give a permanent signal, so I haven't got a lever anymore. Grab our lever. There. I need to fix that. Hit it with the crowbar, and you can choose how long it waits, how many ticks. So let's say it takes 100 ticks for the track to come, then we need to wait for 100 ticks. Now I'm just going to go over here though, because we need to make a small change to this guy, so that it's green on redstone. Otherwise what happens is it just stays active, and as you saw, it just loops around, which does cause a small problem. If we head back over here, we're going to place this guy down. Now up here. You can see it's quite slow to get there. Get rid of that. It won't go away. Do it again, it will go away. Which is a small problem, but not a major. But let's say we hopped in here. You can see that it now holds me in place for 100 ticks. And then all of a sudden, off we go. And of course this does work with engines. Oops. It does work with engines, but I'm just using one card. So that's one way of doing it. But what happens if it doesn't make it across, or we don't know what the timing is, right? We don't want to sit here and work it out. So what we can also do, and this is probably what I'm going to do on this side, if nothing else, is we can set it up so when it detects the how do I do this? When we put it here, so when it detects that there's a block here, we can output a signal. So we're going to use integrated dynamics in a very basic form, and you can use any block detector. I don't have that many in here though. We're just going to do a block reader and a redstone writer there. We will need one of these guys and a card. One of these. And so you can run any block detector you want here. I'm just going to use this because it's what I've got in the pack. We go block reader. So we're looking at that block there. So if there's anything there we want to trigger, we want to place in a cable onto that. And then we're going to output a redstone signal. Not there. Probably on this one here, we'll just put the redstone signal there. So what's that? Is that controller? No. So we'll put a controller there. And we can take this guy out. If we go into here, we place this here, has block. That'll be fine. If it has block, I don't think they clicked it. Whoops. Has a block reader. What happened to my, here we go, redstone writer. So we'll place that into there. So if it's got a block, it outputs. If there's not block, then it won't. So then we can do this to make sure it works. Actually, can we see if it's working? No, we can't from there. Okay. Let's link this guy up then. And we're going to link it up. Instead of being on a delayed track, we can place in another locking track. There. We can place a receiver in. And in theory, you could actually just connect this up directly if you really wanted to as well. But we can place that to there. Like that to there. And is that right? That's not the way it should be. We want to say change it so oops. We want to change this. So once again, its default is off. Redstone is green. Okay, and we'll hit that till our train's through. And now if we place a block there, this happens. So let's test this out. Oh. The moment it arrives, we can leave. How's that? The exercise actually a little bit easier because here we need to run once again a receiver there. Get rid of that. We need to have a very similar setup though where we detect what's waiting. So I'm going to put it this way this time. And we'll place a controller on there. Controller there. Probably use the same setup right here actually. So we'll go and we'll grab a sequencer. Put that there. With a receiver on. We're going to put it this side this time. And another one there. We'll run the controller on the other side here. One there. And now, of course, we need to link those up. So we'll do that. Like this. Oops. It's a receiver. We need a controller there. We'll link that up to there. And of course, we do need to set it once again to default is off because green is the redstone on signal. So if we do it that way, now when it's only going to do it when a train passes, set this guy back to 1. And we will need to link we need to link the controller, which we're going to link that controller onto here. And of course we have the same problem where it's by default it's the wrong around, but we do that. It's now flipped around to the other side. And we're going to need to do the same thing with the blocking so that we don't have a train into or out when there's something there. So we'll do a receiver, probably do it there. Put a blocking track there. Set it to that. And we're going to link that guy, of course, up to that receiver, the other controller, which is at the back. Link that to there. And then once again, the same thing applies. If we put that there, that guy will eject itself, and that there. This isn't quite as bad, because as long as the train's not going too fast, it'll keep up. But we just probably want to make it a little more reliable. We can either do the same thing with a block detector over here, so when it gets there, it's ready to go. Or we can use the delayed locking track just to give us a little more extra time, which is what we're going to do now. So we'll put a delayed locking track in here. We'll set it to 50 ticks, should be fine. And it needs to have a permanent power source. Do I have a lever? Permanent power source. And then on the other side, we do need to allow for the length of the train. Of course, we'll need to have something to detect it again. Alrighty then. So, all the force tracks are in, and we should see them disappear. Yes! I even added a nice little special feature. Doesn't it look cool? Just jump out of here quickly. You can see... Hello, spider! You can see that when the train leaves the track, closes up on both sides, and now there's no hint, no obvious sign that there was actually any form of transport between the two. But you may still be asking, why are there 4 islands? And why not use the 4th island? Well, I did say at the beginning of this episode, this was a special episode. Because if we go have a look around over here, last month, we hit 1,024 subscribers. And in computing terms, that is 1K. So, I thought we'd celebrate by doing something rather cool. But thank you all for watching and enjoying, and remember, if you're not already subscribed, why not? Look at what we've done today! But otherwise, have a great day, and see ya! Let's stop in the middle here, and now we're stuck. If we were in survival, we wouldn't be able to get out of here.